Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of The World Today for the week. It is a Southwest Network program of Radio Nigeria Ibadan Zonal Station comprising news, feature and sports. In the lineup, crisis mars PDP factional meetings in Abuja. First Lady tasks guardians on sexual abuse. UN Security Council endorses Donald Trump agenda against Gaza. Brazilian government establishes indigenous territories for cultural protection. Heart of the Matter today takes a look at curbing suicide thoughts among Nigerians. Feature is on Iseyin. I'm Chinelu Obidike and reading with me is
Dayo Adeniga. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. You can also listen to us on live stream on www.radionigeriaibadan.gov.ng. Watch us live on Facebook at Premier FM 935. Be security conscious. Report any strange movement around you today. Now to the first story. Security has been heightened at the People's Democratic Party national headquarters in Abuja as two rival camps prepare to hold separate meetings at the same venue. And according to reports, armed policemen and patrol vans were seen stationed at the entrance of the party secretariat this morning. The factional national secretariat of the party, loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike Samuel Anyanwu, arrived early and took possession of the secretariat. Speaking with reporters, Anyanwu maintained that he remains the party's national secretary until his tenure expires in December, adding that he has settled into his office despite the ongoing leadership tussle. Anyanwu added that the security personnel were also on standby to prevent any intruders who had announced plans to hold a separate meeting at the Wadata Plaza.
Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has warned parties to adhere to Electoral Act ahead of Osun State governorship primaries. INEC Public Affairs Officer Musa Ulode emphasized the need for free, fair and peaceful primary elections that reflect the will of party members, describing this as key to reducing pre-election litigation. Mr. Ulode noted that party primaries have often been a major source of pre-election disputes, many of which can be avoided if parties complied with laid-down procedures and guidelines. He urged all political parties to ensure that their primaries are conducted in a transparent, democratic and peaceful manner, giving all aspirants equal opportunities to participate. The primary elections are scheduled to hold between 24th November and 15th December 2025. He further assured that INEC will continue to monitor the activities of political parties and take appropriate action within the ambit of the law against any party that fails to comply with electoral laws and regulations.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Joash Amukwitan San, said that the introduction of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, has brought an end to the long-standing problem of identity theft in Nigeria's elections. Speaking at the 2025 Digital Nigeria International Conference and Exhibitions in Abuja, an event organized by the National Information Technology Development Agency, the INEC chairman, represented by National Commissioner May Agbamuche Mbu, declared that multiple voting and identity fraud are over. And according to a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC chairman, Mr. Dayo Oketola, Amukwitan described the BVAS as a turning point in Nigeria's democratic journey, calling it a foolproof mechanism for voter verification. The BVAS device has become a frontline defense against identity fraud, ensuring that only the rightful, eligible voter can be accredited at the polling unit.
Osun State House of Assembly has commenced plans towards the passage of the state's 2026 appropriation estimate as the bill scaled through the second passage. The 2026 2026 budget estimate scaled the second reading after the presentation of the policy thrust by the majority leader of the Assembly, Mr. Kuforola Adewumi, during plenary held at the Assembly Complex, Osogbo. Mr. Adewumi called for the speedy consideration of the 2026 budget estimate and emphasized that the proposed budget size is aimed towards completing all ongoing projects and initiating new projects where it is essential. Mr. Adewumi, who stressed that the executive had consulted with the Assembly during the budget compilation, noted that it is evidently clear that the full implementation of the budget is visible and achievable. He stated that the 2026 budget would be revenue-driven, hence the need for ministries, departments, agencies, MDAs to brace up to attain an improved internally generated revenue, IGR. In his remarks, the chairman of the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Mr. Olumide Fatumise, expressed confidence in the governor's financial stewardship, noting that previous budgets under the current administration had been successfully implemented. In separate contributions on the appropriate bill estimate, Mr. Komi Ajibola, Prince Adewumi Adeyemi, Prince Adekunle Oladimeji, Mr. Abiola Awoyeye, and Mr. Afiz Abiodun assured residents that the budget would improve their standard of living. In his remarks, the Speaker, Prince Adewale Egbedun, directed House Committee on Rules and Business and House Committee on Finance and Appropriation to set the motion in place for the budget defense exercise scheduled to commence from 24th November 2025 to 4th December 2025. It would be recalled that the state's governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, last Wednesday laid before the Assembly a proposed budget of over 705 billion naira for the 2026 fiscal year, christened the Budget of Economic Transformation.
Osun State government has reiterated its commitment to reviving Adire industry through its initiative aimed at promoting the fabric as a source of economic growth and cultural heritage. The Secretary to the State Government, Chief Teslim Igbalaye, said these while addressing a news conference to herald the Adire Osun Festival 2025, slated for next month. Chief Igbalaye said the annual event is aimed at promoting cultural and economic values of the state. He stressed that the festival would showcase the unique Adire textile, a symbol of Osun history and creativity. Earlier in his welcome address, the chairman, Council of Arts and Culture, Mr. Ebenezer Adeniji, described the Adire of Osun as an instrument of identity, a potential engine of jobs, and a promise to the next generation that their heritage would be a foundation of their future. Mr. Adeniji explained that the festival, with the theme Creating Wealth, Empowering Youth, would recognize a living archive, a powerful engine of identity, creativity, and economic hope.
The Pro-Chancellor, University of Ibadan, Chief B.C. Akonde, has called for a review of laws establishing Nigerian universities in line with global best practices to address conflicts between the federal government and university unions. Chief Akonde stated this in his address at the 77th Foundation Day and Convocation ceremonies of the University of Ibadan. Chief Akonde, who is also the chairman of the University of Ibadan Governing Council, observed that over-centralization of bureaucratic bottlenecks in the civil service was interfering with the university's administration.
The gain of strides by the academic staff union of universities and the topsy-turvy it often generates stem from these modules and could be reduced to the barest minimum with meaningful, honest, and sincere adherence to the establishment laws and the rules and regulations of the various universities.
Admonishing the graduates, UI Vice-Chancellor Professor Kayode Adebowale urged them to apply their skills to solve the multifaceted challenges that the nation is grappling with.
Type you to the solution bearers, not just knowledge keepers. You have consumed vast amount of knowledge now. You must transform it to tangible solutions.
Professor Adebowale said a total of 5,900 graduates received the bachelor's degree in various disciplines across all faculties, including the DLC, out of which 448 students. Also, 487 candidates from various disciplines were awarded Doctor of Philosophy PhD degrees. Some of the graduates, including a Commissioner of Police, Dr. Abayomi Shogunle, and a human rights activist, Dr. Abiodun Bangboye, who were awarded PhD degrees, encouraged Nigerians to pursue their dreams, assuring them that with dedication and hard work, they will be successful.
The Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, has alerted the public to a fraudulent message circulating online, claiming that the NELFund student loan registration portal is open. NELFund urged students and the general public not to click on the link or provide any personal information, emphasizing that the official loan registration portal is only accessible through the fund's verified channels. Applicants are encouraged to always verify official announcements via NELFund's official website and social media channels. This advisory comes as a part of NELFund's ongoing effort to safeguard students and ensure the integrity of the student loan application process.
The Chief of Army Staff, Major General Waidi Shaibu, has ordered troops of Operation Fasan Yama to intensify efforts in the search and rescue mission for students abducted in Kebbi State. According to counterinsurgency expert Mr. Zagazola Makama, the Army Chief arrived in Kebbi yesterday with a team of principal staff officers from the Army headquarters. During the visit, Major General Shaibu held an operational meeting with frontline commanders and later charged soldiers to sustain round-the-clock operations until all the schoolgirls are found and safely returned. Major General Shaibu reminded the soldiers that unwavering determination was critical to the success of the operation. It would be recalled that bandits attacked the Government Girls Comprehensive Senior Secondary School, MAGA, killing the vice principal, Mr. Hassan Makuku, and abducting 25 students yesterday morning.
The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has called on Nigerians to ensure adequate protection of all children against sexual exploitation and abuse. She made the call in Abuja on Tuesday to mark the World Day for the Prevention and Healing from Child Sexual Exploitation and Sexual Abuse 2025. The theme for this year's commemoration is strengthening the protection of children against sexual exploitation and sexual abuse through evidence-based policy making. Mrs. Tinubu urged parents and the wider society to prioritize the safety of children and make it a collective responsibility to protect them from any form of sexual abuse.
Following the ongoing nationwide indefinite strike embarked on by Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors (NARD) and the Joint Health Sector Unions (JOHESU), some patients at the University College Hospital (UCH) Ibadan have appealed to the federal government to attend to the health workers' demands to enable them get access to affordable medical care. Radio Nigeria, who monitored the situation of the strike, observed that UCH gates, except the entrance to the main gate, were locked, including some departments such as radiography, physiotherapy, and laboratory science. Radio Nigeria gathered that in Oyo State, only NARD and JOHESU members at the Federal Tertiary Institution are observing the nationwide indefinite strike. Also, a few medical consultants were seen on ground attending to patients at the hospital. In an interview, two patients in UCH, Mr. Irijefe Udugba and Ms. Bimbo Adekoya, said they were surprised when they got to the hospital and were not able to get their scheduled medical service. Two other residents, Mrs. Adisa Alaba, Mrs. Kemi Ore, and Mrs. Helen Olaiwola, felt disappointed because their children could not get medical attention, lamented that they could not afford the medical services at a private hospital. In a reaction, Chairman JOHESU UCH chapter, Mr. Oladayo Olabangbe, said the indefinite strike was as directed by its national body following the federal government's failure to accede to its demands by adjusting their salary structure CONHES as it was done for CONMAS. JOHESU comprises the Nigeria Union of Allied Health Professionals, Senior Staff Association of Universities, and the Teaching Hospitals, Research and Academic Institutions. Other members of JOHESU are the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria and the non-academic staff of universities and research institutions.
This is the world today. The stories that made headlines. Crisis marred PDP factional meetings in Abuja. First Lady tasked Naj guardians on sexual abuse. Still to come, Brazilian government establishes indigenous territories cultural protection. On security, UN Security Council endorses Donald Trump agenda against Gaza.
Good to have with us on the world today. We now move to the foreign scene. The United Nations Security Council has voted in favor of a U.S. drafted resolution that endorses U.S. President Donald Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza. Report says part of the plan is the establishment of an International Stabilization Force, ISF, to which the U.S. says multiple unnamed countries have offered to contribute. The resolution was backed by 13 countries, including the UK, France and Somalia, with none voting against the proposal. A spokesperson for UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said adopting it was an important step in the consolidation of the ceasefire. Meanwhile, Hamas has rejected the resolution, saying it fails to meet Palestinians' rights and demands.
A Russian missile attack has killed a teenage girl and wounded at least 9 people in Ukraine's eastern Kharkiv region. Governor of the region, Ole Sinkyubov, said Moscow has been intensifying its daily drone and missile barrages in recent months, targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure and hitting several civilian sites ahead of winter. Mr. Sinkyubov said a 17-year-old girl who was seriously wounded in the missile attack on the city of Berestin has died in the hospital. The governor also added that 9 people were wounded.
Federal agents have arrested 130 people in 2 days in Charlotte, North Carolina, the latest city to face President Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration. Assistant Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, said that a number of the people arrested are criminals and gang members, but local leaders say the operation is doing more harm than good. McLaughlin said a U.S. citizen allegedly injured an officer by ramming a law enforcement vehicle with their car.
Germany has announced it will restart exporting weapons to Israel following a ceasefire in Gaza more than a month ago. The German government said exports would resume from 24th of this month after it suspended sales of military equipment that could be used in Gaza Strip in August. Germany, the second largest supplier of arms to Israel behind the US, stopped shipments after Israel approved a ground offensive to take over Gaza City. Since then, Israel and Hamas have signed the first phase of a peace deal that came into force on 10th October. As Germany said the ceasefire had now stabilized, that was the basis for them to lift the suspension.
Heart of the Matter today takes a look at curbing suicide thoughts among Nigerians. It is written by Fumilola Obagbaigun of the Current Affairs Unit.
Majority of Nigerians had lofty dreams about life and looked into the future with great expectations with no thought that life could defeat them. So they worked hard and hoped they would win all life's battles. They loved and were loved by others in return, and life was indeed good and joyful. But as soon as the dreams began to fade and depression crawled in, hope gave way to despair, while sadness took the place of joy in their hearts. Then came the thought of death, which is embraced, and that was the end of it all. Living saw notes in their biographies, pains in the hearts of those that loved them, and loads of questions for those who didn't even know them but heard about their horrid end. Such are the accounts of some Nigerian youths before taking their own lives in the recent past in a final effort to escape from life's struggles. 25-year-old man Joseph Abodurin committed suicide in Dagbolu community in Oshogbo local government area of Osun State when he had earlier opened up about his fear, inabilities and childhood trauma, which he said took a toll on his mental health. Compounding these academic challenges are the persistent hunger and hardship across the country, high youth unemployment, government neglect, and the failing power sector. Many disillusioned and depressed students are left without support from stakeholders, parents, government, guidance counselors, schools, faith-based organizations, youth agencies, and civil society organizations, all of whom share responsibility for safeguarding the mental health of young people. Parents are their children's first counselors. However, instead of imparting valuable life lessons, many parents set unattainable expectations, threaten or push their children to extreme. This approach erodes the mental health of young people, leading to low self-esteem, depression, and tragically suicide. Nigerians need to understand the crucial lesson that failure is an integral part of life and success, as history is full of men and women who faced setbacks but persevered to become global icons. In one of basketball's greatest players, Michael Jordan, he said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost over 300 games. 26 times I have been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over again. That is why I succeed. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or walk around it." Indeed, Nigerians going through failure-induced stress should draw inspiration from not just those who failed school certificate examinations and the UTME multiple times, but also from other historic figures who confronted their challenges with resilience and courage, ultimately emerging as success stories in the academia, politics, and business.
That script on curbing suicide thoughts among Nigerians was written by Fumilola Obagbayu of the Current Affairs Unit and read by Stephen Agbaji.
Some ancient cities in Nigeria derived their names from the activities and renowned indigenous people and occupational practices. One of such cities is Iseyin. Let us join Rutimi Famaki for details.
Iseyin is an ancient city located in Oyo State, the southwestern region of Nigeria. Iseyin is the fourth largest city in Oyo State after Ibadan, Ogbomosho, and Oyo. The rich soil of Iseyin made it a center of attraction to the earliest farmers and hunters, who saw it as a fertile forest land for both mild and wild games. According to history, Abaudo Iseyin and his people were the first settlers to explore Iseyin. Abaudo Iseyin was a hunter with no royal or chieftaincy background who migrated from Ile-Ife mainly for hunting purposes. He was later joined by two other courageous hunters, Okiesa and Jagun Ilado. Aba later made arrangements to settle at Ebedi at Ekunle. He accepted and settled there because Ebedi was of Sango creed, Sango god of thunder. But for the humility of the three hunters that submitted to him were of Oro extraction, he approved Oro Oreku as the official Oreku with which Iseyin was created and decided to honor it by celebrating it annually. And this was the beginning of yearly Oro festival in Iseyin as it depicted in one of its panegyrics, Iseyin Oro Omebedi. In addition, he endorsed sacrifice of Oro, a part of rites necessary to make any Iseyin. Historically, Iseyin means junction where they do palm kernel work. Ibiti ati nse eyin. The name was derived from the first settlers, an occupation associated with palm kernel processing. Iseyin, also known as Center for Weaving Traditional Textile, called Ashoke or Ashofi, a popular traditional fabric worn on renowned occasion by the Yoruba people.
Ibiti Atinse Eyin. That script on Isheyin was written by Olubumi Agbola.
To end the news on the world today from the stable of Radio Nigeria, here again are the main stories. Security has been heightened at the People's Democratic Party national headquarters in Abuja, as two rival camps hold separate meetings at the same venue. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has called on Nigerians to ensure adequate protection for all children against sexual exploitation and abuse. The United Nations Security Council has voted in favor of a U.S.-drafted resolution that endorses U.S. President Donald Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza. The government of Brazil has created 10 new indigenous territories after protesters urged action at the COP30 climate summit in the Brazilian city of Belém.
Well, that's it in the world today. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition of the program. Rotimi Famaki, edited RM Dayo. Adenuga saying thank you for joining us. Have a pleasant day. And from our colleague
Chinelo Obudike, thanks for listening.